Imagine experiencing a love that felt eternal, only to watch it slip away amidst the silence and distance. How many times do we feel abandoned, even when our hearts insist on believing? This is a story of Leah and Malcolm, a couple separated by fate, but given a second chance by time. Through letters, 1980s music, and unexpected encounters, they show us that true love is never lost, it merely sleeps, waiting for the perfect moment to awaken again. If you've ever felt the ache of longing, the frustration being left behind, or the hope of a fresh start, you'll relate to every chapter of the story. Here, each page invites reflection on forgiveness, reconciliation, and the strength of resilience. It is also a reminder that time doesn't erase memory as it transforms them into profound lessons. The promise of a reunion becomes not just possible, but truly inspiring. Following Leah and Malcolm, you'll discover how small choices, gestures, and words can rebuild bridges that once seemed impossible to cross. This is a story of perseverance, trust, and, above all, hope. Get ready to feel deeply, to laugh, and to reflect on the power of love, second chances, and destiny that surprises us when we least expect it. The 1980s party had that unmistakable glow, colorful lights, loud music, daring outfits. But Leah didn't quite fit into that scene. While many danced without a care for tomorrow, she preferred to be at home, lost in a good book, perhaps The Little Prince or a classic by Clarice Lispector. It was as if the crowd was too loud for the quiet dwelling in her soul. Still, fate had other plans that night. Amid the cheerful chaos, Malcolm appeared like someone already written into the melody of her life. A pilot in training, he carried the open sky in his eyes, a kind of dreamer who aims high. Their conversation was light, full of discoveries and unexpected affinity, shared tastes in music, letters they'd both written but never sent, dreams that seemed to complete each other. He spoke about aviation with the same passion she spoke about books. In that exchange, something resembling a promise was born. Their first kiss didn't erupt like fireworks. It came as a quiet certainty, a simple gesture, yet one that carried the promise of true love. Leah felt that night would be more than just another party charged with 1980s energy, was the starting point of something greater. It was as if time had paused, capturing the moment when two souls, once distant, decided to meet. The melody of that kiss would echo forever, even as life put them to the test. Leah and Malcolm's romance blossomed like a song endlessly replayed on the radio, never tiring. There was passion, easy laughter, letters exchanged of words that felt eternal. They made plans for trips, a future together, a home filled with music and windows open to hope. In each other's eyes, there was a belief that true love could withstand any distance. It was a rare, intense phase, as if destiny had written it. But life often tests the most beautiful promises. Malcolm received an once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to become a pilot abroad. Aviation had always been his greatest dream, but now that dream clashed with his heart. Leah felt proud of him, but also carried a quiet fear. What if time turned longing into abandonment? It was a hard choice, with love and career on a collision course. Departure was inevitable, but the pain began well before the farewell. On the night he left, they promised loyalty to the love that united them. Nothing can separate us in a distance. Not silence, Malcolm said, his eyes brimming with tears. Leah believed him, even knowing that time could be merciless. Their airport kiss was more than a goodbye. It was a promise of reunion, a silent pact to overcome. The plane took off, carrying her heart with it, leaving behind a longing that would only grow. Distance proved crueler than either could have imagined. At first, letters carried the sweetness of promises and the warmth of longing. Leah treasured each envelope as if it were gold, rereading words that kept their love alive. But replies grew slower. International calls were too expensive to maintain, and silence began to creep between the lines, stealing the melody that had once united them. As months passed, abandonment was felt not through words spoken, but through the absence of them. Leah sought solace in books and 1980s music to fill the growing emptiness. The phone no longer rang as before, and Malcolm's laughter became a distant memory. Gradually, she immersed herself in work, building a solid career, as if discipline were her way of cultivating resilience. Yet beneath that strength, a wound remained, a wound left by a broken promise. This silence was at once prison and liberation. Though longing lingered like a shadow, Leah learned to rise on her own. She discovered that overcoming life's challenges comes not from grand gestures, but from small, daily choices, waking up early, trusting in destiny, believing that time always brings redemption. Still, behind her strength, a part of her waited for a reunion, not necessarily with the same love, but with answers left open by silence. 30 years passed like a page turned without noticing. Leah, now mature and independent, no longer carried the innocence of the 1980s, but still held memories that resurfaced in quiet moments. On an ordinary afternoon in a cozy cafe, fate decided to play its hand again. She looked you panned. It was Malcolm, older, marked by time, but still with that dreamy aviator gaze. Her heart raced as if it were the first time. The shock brought both hurt and surprise. Leah felt decades of longing and abandonment resurface, like unopened letters finally revealed. Malcolm, his voice trembling, explained that he had suffered an accident during a flight, followed by a long coma. His memory failed him for years, and when he finally recovered, he lost track of her. The silence Leah interpreted as forgetfulness had been fate and tragedy. Their conversation, charged with emotion, became a bridge between past and present. Leah shared how she had had to overcome pain to move forward, how she built a life despite the sorrow. Malcolm spoke of his battle with loss, the resilience that kept him alive, and the hope of reunion. There, amidst tears and hesitant smiles, something shifted. Resentment gave way to the possibility of forgiveness. It wasn't an ending, but perhaps the beginning of a new melody. After so many twists and turns, Leah and Malcolm chose to give their hearts a second chance. There was no longer room for youthful illusions, only a mature, realistic, and deep love. They knew time had shaped scars, but also brought wisdom. The reunion was not merely a return to the past, it was the promise of a different future. Life offered them the rare opportunity to turn pain into reconciliation. They began revisiting places steeped in memories, the square, where they shared their first kiss, the 1980 songs that marked their story, even simple cafes that became settings for new chapters. Each old memory gained new color, as if painted by maturity. Silence, once painful, was replaced by long conversations filled with trust and hope. Little by little, they wrote a new melody together. This rebuilt love demanded resilience, yet carried unexpected strength. It was not merely the reunion of two people, but the merging of two histories that, though broken, decided to mend. Malcolm brought lessons from aviation, where every flight teaches risk, and courage. Leah brought her hard-won strength after years of independence. Together, they discovered that true overcoming lies not in a race in the past, but in transforming it into a foundation for a hopeful new beginning. Resuming life together after 30 years was not simple. Leah and Malcolm realized that time had changed them in unexpected ways. Her independence and confidence contrasted with his scars and traumas. Every gesture from the past carried memories of abandonment, but also opportunities for forgiveness. Small daily acts of prepared coffee, a caring message began to rebuild trust. They learned that reconciliation demands patience, but rewards with profound emotional depth. Shadows of the past arose, but did not dominate. Old disagreements surfaced briefly, but respect and maturity guided solutions. Open communication became essential, expressing feelings, listening without judgment, allowing vulnerability. Each obstacle overcome strengthened their bond, turning the reunion into a solid relationship based not on empty promises, but consistent actions. Life showed that resilience is cultivated step by step. Finally, they discovered a deeper, more conscious love. The second chance was not merely about reliving youthful passion, but accepting imperfections, celebrating individual achievements, and building dreams together. Forgiveness and trust ceased to be abstract concepts, becoming the very foundation of their relationship. Between laughter, music, and memories, they understood that true love can withstand time, silence, and even life's accidents. Each day together was a new beginning, a fresh melody to compose. The story of Leah and Malcolm reminds us that true love, even when interrupted by time, can resurface with greater strength and maturity. What lessons can you take from this for your own life? Perhaps it's time to reflect on forgiveness, to give a second chance, or simply to cultivate hope and resilience in your relationships. Every thoughtful gesture, every sincere word can become the bridge to rebuild connections once thought lost. And if you find yourself challenged by silence or distance, remember small daily actions and mutual trust can turn old wounds into fresh beginnings. Reunion doesn't have to be literal. It may come as reconciliation with yourself or someone you love. Try writing letters, opening honest conversations, and valuing simple moments that strengthen bonds. Life rewards those who dare to try again. So, be inspired by this story and reflect which bridges can you rebuild today, which silent beginnings are waiting to become a new melody. If this narrative touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to follow more stories that move, teach, and inspire. Let hope and love guide your next steps.